It's not a good thing. Do not celebrate it. But it is a great time to be broke, huh? Nobody blames you. It's the economy. It's not that you're horrible with decisions. Waste money constantly, dumbass. It's the economy. People are like, it's hard out there. You're like, yeah, I'll co-op that. Bong rip, 8 a.m. Ambition. I don't like being broke, though, because I don't look broke. I look like a senator's nephew. Hi. Hello. I look like all the presidents except the current one. Hey there. Hi. I'm insert name Romney. Yeah, I don't like being broke. I can't do broke things. Like, I used to live in Brooklyn. Brooklyn. I would work in Brooklyn in like kind of bad neighborhoods. Like I'd have to take the train out to these really bad neighborhoods. And I mean like bad, like they didn't even have brunch in these neighborhoods. But people would see me on the train and they'd be like, oh my God, a lost prince. And they would try to return me for a reward. I'm like, no kingdom is missing me. I don't like being broke too because I'm losing friends. Like I'm like moving into this new category. Well, I'm 30. And apparently, like, as an adult, you can afford things, and I can't. So I'm moving to this new category called odd job friends. That's like where old friends will call me up, and they'll be like, hey, Andy, what's up? And I'll be like, nothing. You want to hang out? And they're like, no. But I do know a guy that needs a pile of wood moved, so we're all really worried about you. I tell that friend to off, but then I'm like, hey, can I have that guy's number? I really need $50. I know I'm broke because I was sleeping on an air mattress this year. That's a broke thing. That is a canary in the coal mine of your financial status. Air mattress sounds nice. It sounds like you're gonna sleep on a cloud, but instead what you have is a really fragile bed. Like you can't just go to bed. You'll pop your bed. You have to get like low and flat and extend out over it. That or you'll launch your wife into the wall, and you definitely don't have health insurance because you're sleeping on an air mattress. I want to make a commercial for the air mattress. It'll be just like the Tempur-Pedic commercial, you know, the lady's like jumping on the bed, her Merlot's over here, it's fine. But in the air mattress one, the lady's gonna jump on the bed, the wine is gonna shoot up and kill her, and it's gonna say, air mattress, you should have picked a better major in college. Why did you do that? I did waste my major in college. I picked a bad one. I majored in religion. Cool. It's the new pope. But I majored in religion, and it turns out you can just go to church for free. So that was a mistake. One thing I don't like about being broke is I don't like public transportation. I don't like it. I don't like it. You know why? They let the public on that thing. And that means everybody. That means all sorts of people, and I mainly mean homeless people. That's what I'm talking about. And I hear you guys tighten up because you're all liberal voters and you went to Whole Foods and you recycle your bags or whatever. We don't like homeless people, all right? We care about them, we feel bad for them, but we don't like them. We're never excited to see a homeless person like, oh, Boots is here to make the room smell different. Get in here, buddy, I got some cans I've been saving. And it's not just that they're homeless, it's that they're like super homeless, you know? They're like time traveler homeless. You're like, how do you have clothes made out of hair and bark, sir? And why are you on the subway? Like, I should be on the subway. I'm going to work. You should be on one of those crank carts from a Looney Tunes. Stack of squirrels helping you on an adventure. I told all my friends in New York that I was going to move to LA. I used to live in New York. I moved to LA. And I told them all, and they're like, Andy, you don't want to move to LA. If you move to LA, you'll have to drive. I'm like, yeah. I love driving. Driving is great. Like, and I'm an environmentally conscious person, but after 4 years on the New York subway, I would drive a Hummer powered on Native American tears, all right? I mean that, I'm sorry. Sorry for everybody. I don't care. I love driving. Driving's great. You go exactly where you want to go. You're like, hey, over there. And you go there. You get to listen to exactly what you want to listen to and not what the most intimidating teenager is playing on his cell phone. And I really like how I've never opened up my car door and there's just been a guy that shit his pants and it was like, guess we're going uptown together. That's weird. I paid a fee to get in this with you and now that's counterintuitive. I want to make like a new kind of subway, bus, whatever. I want classes, like an airplane, you know? Yeah? Everybody? Here's what it's going to be. You're going to have first class. It'll be really nice, right? Velvet, whatever. It'll be nice. I don't know what nice things are, but imagine a nice thing, and that's it. And then there'll be middle class, and that'll just be normal, but it'll be clean, okay? And then there'll be the lowest class, and that'll be called Anything Goes. And you get on that, and they hand you a hammer and a Four Loko, and the lights go out. And that is free to ride. That is a free ride. So vote for me. I have this friend. He doesn't know what hipsters are. Yeah? He's not from a city, so he doesn't have a reference point. But when he comes to the city, he thinks everybody's a hipster. He'll be like, look at that hipster. I'll be like, that's a gay homeless prostitute. He'll be like, what about that guy? I'm like, that's a statue. I'm like, what about that guy? That's a Subaru Forester. I don't even think that's a person. Subaru Forester would be the hipster of Transformers. They'd be like, I turned into an organic produce stall. Kale, kale. Oh no, the Decepticons have gluten. I'm a Transformer, but I don't identify as one. I was in Seattle one time, and I was in a coffee shop, because duh, and watching, what was that movie called? I forget. But I was in Seattle, and I was in a coffee shop, and I had an outside coffee drink, right? I got a drink from another coffee place. And the barista goes like this. She goes, sorry to be such a Nazi about this, but you have to take your drink outside. And made me wonder if a Nazi had ever said that. Like if a Nazi had ever been like, hey, sorry to be such a Nazi about this, but you guys have to get on the train. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. There we go. There's my neo-Nazis. All right. I lived in Seattle and then I moved to New York. And when I moved to New York, I made a big mistake because I brought my girlfriend from Seattle to New York. And I don't know if you guys knew this, New York already has girlfriends. You don't need to bring a girlfriend there. They got it covered. They got it all covered. Bringing a girlfriend to New York is like bringing a warm beer to a bar that serves free cold beers. And everybody's just spilling cold beer all over the place, and you have to sit there and pretend like you love warm beer. You're like, thanks, I brought my own. I wish there would have been a bouncer at the door to New York that was like, hey, you can't bring that in here. There's girlfriends inside. I learned this when I lived in New York. I learned that models are not attractive. I don't know if you guys knew that. I lived in the Lower East Side of New York, and there's like models there, like there's deers in the forest. You know what I mean? You're like, model, be quiet. No, but the thing is that we all think that models are like really attractive because we see them in like a magazine or like on a runway, and there's like a team of robots that put them together. But when you see like a model on like a Sunday morning at 8 a.m., it just looks like a really tall, tired little boy. Like they're all malnourished and clumsy. They're like brand new avatars. They're kind of like wobbly. Be careful. If they fall on you, they're pointy. You can't get a model to eat out of your hand, though. You just have to have cocaine and money. I was, speaking of models, I was watching one of those True Hollywood stories. I was watching the one about Heidi Klum. And it was like an hour long. To make it interesting, they had to like have conflict and resolution. But her life has just been a high five from Jesus. So they had to embellish it. They were like, Heidi hasn't always been a supermodel. At certain points of her life, she was just a baby. That's right, folks. She had to grow into supermodel size. And eventually they were talking about her and her ex-husband, Seal. You guys remember him? He's the Batman genre musician. Whatever. But they're talking about Heidi and Seal, and they're like, Heidi and Seal are just the oddest couple. They're so odd. Heidi was born in Austria, typical Austrian upbringing. Seal was orphaned as a baby in Nigeria, where he raised himself. He illegally immigrated to Britain, where he worked odd jobs till he could sell his first record. Right then I was like, why the is this show about Heidi Klum? You just paraphrased the Blot to Blood Diamond. And you're like, enough about Seal. One time Heidi lost her flip-flops. Don't worry, guys. They were right by the pool. So I got married last weekend. Yeah. That's for real. That's for real, for real. But I'm really glad to be married because I did not like being engaged. I did not like that at all. Being engaged for a guy, getting engaged for a guy is really kind of horse shit. I don't know if you knew that. Because here's what you have to do. You have to work a bunch. You got to do all this work. You got to work and work and work. And then you got to save all this money, okay? So you save all this money. And then you have to buy a diamond ring. And then she has to say yes to a diamond ring. So do you guys see a discrepancy in effort? Do you see how one person did a bunch of stuff and the other person just said yes to the most valuable elements on earth? And she wanted to get married. That's like getting a prize for getting what you wanted. That doesn't make sense. I didn't get a prize. I didn't get an Xbox or anal sex. And I want something. I don't care who it's with. Guys, we used to get a dowry. I don't know what happened. When you liked a girl, her dad would come running over to your house and he'd be like, how much money do I have to pay you to get this bitch out of my life forever? And proposing isn't easy either, you know? Proposing, you can't just propose. You gotta like surprise your girlfriend, and that's not even really enough. You gotta like punk them these days. So I punked the shit out of my girlfriend. I sent her on an errand, and then I ran around the other side of the block, and I hid, right? And I had a ski mask and a pistol, and I robbed her, all right? But then I took that money, and I bought her an engagement ring. So, pretty romantic guy, I don't know. Old-fashioned. Right after we got engaged, we went and stayed at a bed and breakfast, and let me just say this right now, you guys. If you ever get the chance to stay at a bed and breakfast, do not ever do that in your whole life. Don't do it. It's horrible. It's a great way to pay $200 to feel like you're imposing on a haunted house. That's exactly what it's like. Like, hey, I know what we should do for our anniversary. Let's go up to the woods where nobody can hear us scream. We'll try to sleep in a house that drove a colonial man insane. Doesn't that sound like a blast? Other people's grandparents will be there. That's always fun. It's shitty. It's super shitty. It's just a guy's house. It's just some guy has a house and then he's like, let's call it a hotel and then we can trick people into our basement or whatever. It's bad. The worst part about it is it's a hotel, kinda, but you can't have hotel sex in it. And we all know hotel sex is the best sex. Right? I don't know what it is. You get into a hotel and you just want to try stuff you saw on the internet. I don't know why. I think it's because the furniture doesn't belong to anybody. It's everybody's. And that means put your ass on things and put things in your ass. Go for it. It doesn't matter. That's what your deposit's for. Go butt wild. But I couldn't do that in that bed and breakfast.